What is up, Alpha team, Alpha family, Alpha members, viewers, new viewers, old viewers, everybody here today. We have on this Friday morning, the 19th, we have a very special guest. Has been one of the founding fathers, has been eliminated, has came back and resurrected a couple times, I would say, more than once. However, he's a close friend of mine. I do have a lot of conversations with this individual. He's a family man. He's always putting his family first, his wife and his little baby girl. But more importantly, he's able to manage, make money, and take care of his family at the same exact time, and send his wife out to Spain, living her life for a week while he makes 5-figure, 6-figure checks. Not yet, but coming up, right? Coming up. But anyways, I'll go ahead and introduce you guys to Hector Oliveras, the monster, the legend, the myth. What's up, Hector? How you doing this morning?
What's going on, guys? I'm happy to be here today, talk to you guys a little bit about my journey. It's been a really long journey here in the solar industry, creeping up on 9 years now. A lot of fun stories, amazing stories, and I'm really excited to share a little bit about what I went through in the beginning as far as the industry is concerned, and anything of value that I can provide you guys for today.
Awesome, and I believe that all of us have been waiting for this episode. It hasn't been able to happen. There's been some difficulties that have came up and encounter obstacles, but hey, we're here today. Bless the morning, right? So let's go ahead and jump to it and let's get started. Tell me a little bit about your background. Where were you born? What were you doing when you went through school? Parents? A little bit of what kind of values you were instilled when you were a young individual that later on in sales helped you develop yourself and become a really good sales rep and very talented individual.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, growing up, I'm not originally from down south here in this area. I'm originally from up north. I was pretty much raised in Rhode Island, which is the smallest state out of the 50 states, of course. And growing up there, I wouldn't say that we were struggling by any means, definitely like a middle class family. I also have an older sister, so grew up with my older sister there in a small town called Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And basically, growing up, we had a great childhood. When I went to high school, I was always into like athletics and things like that. Actually was a captain of the swim team. So from a very early age, I would say, developed certain characteristics that I would say are qualities of a leader, just being a captain of a sports team. It teaches you a lot of things. Sports, I think, is like one of the best things you could put your kids into because it really teaches them discipline. It teaches them certain things that they're going to use later on in life as far as leadership goes and everything like that. So I think that really like shaped me as far as in my high school days. Okay.
And you said you came from like a hardworking family. Where from? Where are your parents from?
Yeah, so my parents are both Puerto Rican and American. My dad kind of just was always working. When we were younger, I remember that, he had like 2 or 3 jobs like growing up. So didn't really get to spend too much time with him. My mom also worked at Brown University. So, both my parents were, extremely hardworking. And, of course, those work ethics were instilled upon us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That makes a lot of sense. But with that said, going into high school, I know that you did a little bit of college, and maybe that's where like solar came to play. Talk to me about the solar experience. Like, when did it come into your life? Were you in college, after college? What were you doing at the time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So coming out of high school, I was one of those kids that I didn't know what I was going to do. Like I think everybody goes through like the same thing where, you get the peer pressure from your group of friends and they all want to go to college. Everybody wants to get the FAFSA form so they can go and pretty much, the Hispanics at least, like, they want to go and get the scholarships to get paid in order to go to college and basically just party. Similar thing. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I wasn't sure if I was going to go to URI, if I was going to go to Roger Williams, which was a school that was actually trying to recruit me for swimming. I really had no idea. I got a scholarship to do swimming. I didn't take it.
I did not know that. You didn't take that scholarship?
No,
Why?
I did not. Because I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. Again, I enjoyed swimming, but I understood that, the level of dedication that it required to do it at a collegiate level was, going to be a lot. It was going to take a lot of fun out of the sport.
Okay.
I think when you get to that level, you kind of have to, decide, all right, am I going to do this professionally, or is it just kind of like a pastime?
Okay. And what were your parents' thoughts through that? Like, I'm guessing that you came to that decision. What kind of thoughts did they have after your decision?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they just wanted me to do something. They weren't wanting me to be at home sitting down on the couch, obviously, like mooching off of them. They wanted me to go do something, whether that be take a short-term career or, go to school and, study to get a degree or whatever the case may be. So I took a different path. I actually went to, thanks to my mom who worked at Brown University, I was able to take a program there to be an EMT. Did that for a little bit, worked at Rhode Island Hospital in the critical care unit for a little under a year. Figured out that paid really, really terrible. It was like $14 an hour.
Yeah.
It was 2 48-hour shifts. I really didn't enjoy. I liked helping people, but I didn't like, the trauma side of it, like seeing people's heads split open, motorcycle accidents,
That's tough.
trauma, like I was in, the part where people are breaking their legs and bleeding out and all this kinds of crazy stuff. So that takes a toll. So I decided that was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to still continue helping people, but that was not for me because the pay was so bad. So I ended up going back to school to study massage therapy, which I ended up getting my my license in massage, and then I specialized later on in sports massage, and I was working in a clinic in Boston, doing sports massage up until...
How old were you at the time?
Yeah, at the time I was like 19, 20 years old. So, just got out of school, single and all that stuff. Ended up having bad dislocations in my shoulders, probably due to like the sports again. So I ended up getting surgery. And that was like in the second year that I was doing massage. So I was around 22, 23, was about to get married actually, when I got that surgery. And then I went ahead and got the surgery, got married. But now I'm like, shoulder surgery is probably one of the hardest surgeries to recover from.
Yeah.
Because everything is swollen. You use your right arm on a daily basis. And of course, that job that I was doing at the time is a very physical job, right? Massage is a super physical job. So I couldn't do massage anymore. And I was like, man, what am I going to do next?
Okay, awesome. Well, not awesome, but going through that, I guess you gotta like fight through it and resilience. Now, do want to take a step back real quick. You said that you were single and then you got in a relationship and then you were gonna get married out of nowhere. Like,
for sure.
Were you dating at the time? Were you focused on yourself? Were you talking to somebody, or like what was it that brought you in through that? Because I feel like we skipped a very good amount of information from like 19 to like 22.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, just like during that time period when I finished massage school, I was around like 20 years old. Yeah. So for that like 1, 2 to 3 year span, I was literally just working. Obviously you have like the student loans from, going to school and everything like that. So working to pay those off, got my first car that I paid for by myself. Obviously my parents had helped me before in the past to get like a hoopty, like anyone, like one that you can like crash into a ditch or whatever the case may be. And, it doesn't really matter.
Is that what you did?
No. Well, actually, yes, I did. Actually did crash into a ditch. I had a rollover accident on the highway, but that's a whole nother story. I'm a terrible driver, by the way. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a terrible driver. I think literally everyone in Alpha has been in an accident or almost an accident with me. I'm terrible at GPS directing as well. But those are some of the things I'm bad at. But yeah, where I was going with that was I got my first car. It was a Toyota Camry, red, of course. For some reason, I just love the Toyotas. I don't know how I always end up
There's no way it's the same car you have right now.
No.
I was about to say, what?
It's a different car.
Okay.
That one I crashed too. But yeah, that was my first car. So I was stacking up my money and everything like that. And just how any, I would say kid at that time, because, when you're 20 years old, I feel like you're still like a kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like any kid would do, stacking up the money, trying to save up and, like exploring, different options out there.
Okay. So you're kind of just in that stage where like, you don't really know what you're going to do, but you found something, you're making pretty good money or decent money at the time. And you're like, well, let me start spoiling myself, get a car, maybe like better clothes, maybe like, I know that's when you was the time frame you met Joanna, right?
Yeah,
That was around the time frame you met Joanna. Real quick, give me a little bit of info on how you meet her.
Yeah, absolutely. So we met through like mutual friends.
Okay.
I think the first time that I saw her, I'm a little bit older than her, by the way. I'm like 3 or 4 years older than her.
Oh, okay.
So we met through mutual friends, but we were actually in an event in Providence, Rhode Island. Anyone who's from that area knows about a water fire. So it's basically an event where in downtown Providence, they light up these basically like little baskets with fire, and they do like a live salsa band there, every month. They usually do that where they have live music and stuff like that. And so it was at one of those events that I saw her for the first time through a mutual friend. And that's kind of like how we connected through dance, I guess. Yeah.
Just dancing.
I just really enjoy doing that on the side, like as a spare hobby.
Yeah.
So that was kind of something that we kind of connected on. And then, we became friends first. We weren't dating right off the get. We, became really good friends. And then eventually later on, we started dating. And
Did you guys become friends for the purpose of dating, or you just took it we're friends?
Yeah, I don't believe in that. I think everybody has every man has intentions when they go into the friend zone. They're hoping to get out of the friend zone and jump into
Were you going into the friend zone or not?
Yeah, I was knee deep in the friend zone, man.
No way, with Joanna?
Yeah. I was totally in the friend zone.
You didn't even realize it just happened.
You know how they say there's a short game and the long game? I was definitely playing the long game.
Oh my goodness.
We got to a point where I was like, man, I might be permanently stuck in this friend zone. So I had to do a little mental shift. So I'll give you the really quick story.
Yeah,
so basically what happened was there was a Romeo Santos concert, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is where I'm gonna tell her if we don't start a relationship now, that's it. I was ready to give up. So, of course.
Well, how many times did you go out as friends?
Ooh, for a whole year.
No way.
Every weekend. Yeah.
And you just couldn't get to tell her
that's right.
That you liked her and you wanted more than just a friendship.
Well, I think she knew, obviously there was back and forth.
But you didn't make it crystal clear.
I did not make it crystal clear. I think back at that time, I didn't really have that alpha mentality, you would say. I was just kind of being a little bit more passive.
A shy little boy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say shy because everybody that knows me knows that I have a really big personality and everything like that, which, I'm just I've always been the funny friend, everyone wants to hang around, make everybody laugh and things like that. So basically, that's the role I was playing. I was just being the comedian, as usual. And, eventually
Romeo Santos.
At that Romeo Santos concert, wrote her a little poem, gave her a little Pandora bracelet, right? And I was like, hey, do you want to be my girlfriend? And we had our first kiss there at the Romeo concert, and the rest is history, man.
No way. Yeah. Damn, my boy said I gotta do it, and I gotta go ahead and do it. I can't believe you wrote a poem. Does she still have the poem?
I think so. Yeah, we framed it. Yeah.
No way, bro. That's a cute story. You were 22 at the time, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, and then you got married maybe a year after.
A year after, 23. Yep.
Oh, okay. Dang. And then you had a little girl come around the corner, right?
For sure, yeah.
Well, how long ago from getting married did that happen?
5 years after.
5 years after. So you guys took y'all's time. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was amazing. Doing that mental shift for anybody that is stuck right now is a growing opportunity for anybody that's stuck in the friend zone and they really like a girl and they might have been talking to her for a little bit now. What would you recommend to that person, to that guy that's a little bit afraid to get a little bit intimate with his friend and want to be transparent and honest with them and let them know how they feel?
Yeah, I feel like I'm on a dating show, man. No, but basically, I would say you're never going to get anywhere in life if you don't go for it. In sales, we have this saying that says, just ask for the close, right? Yeah. Ask for the close. You hear so many people talking about ask for the close. Ask and you shall receive, right?
Absolutely.
You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I guess my recommendation to that person would be just shoot your shot. shot. There's millions of fish out there in the sea. If that's not the fish for you, right, then just go find another fish. You know, at the end of the day, you won't lose anything by just going for it, and they'll respect you for it. Girls love a guy that's confident in themselves. They don't want somebody that's insecure, that's like, oh, you know, maybe, you know, would you want to go out with me? No, they want someone that's like, hey, you know, I like you. I think we should pursue a relationship. What do you think? You know, confidence, absolutely. A lot of confidence. That confidence took a whole year. For my boy to build up. I guess it's different, like talking about it, but it's another thing, like going through it. I've never been through it, so I don't know. Just to make that clear. But anyways, that's besides the point, right? So now going into it, solar. Yeah. Right? When did that come through? Like you said, you hurt your shoulder, and then I guess you took a little bit of a break. How long was that break from your massage? Maybe that's when solar came in. I'm not sure. Yeah. When did that happen? That's a great question, man. Yeah, so absolutely. So what happened was when I had that shoulder surgery, I was like, okay, look, I can't do massage right now. It just hurts too much. What am I good at? I'm like, well, at the time I was good at making people laugh, swimming, and doing massage. I wasn't going to swim. I could still make people laugh, but you can't make money from that unless you become a comedian. So I was like, that's not probably in the cards, right? Or I didn't want to go down that route. So I'm still good at talking to people, right? So I actually had a friend of mine that was like, hey, man, I got this amazing opportunity. I'm making really, really good money at the time. So this is back in 2015, right? And he's actually working for this solar company called Solar City. And I was like, man, that sounds like pretty good. Like, what does a job like require? He's like, oh, well, you know, we go door to door. And we talk to people about, you know, switching over to solar from their power bill. He's like, it's a super easy sale. You know, they don't have to, you know, pay any money up front or anything out of pocket or anything like that. I'll show you everything. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, it sounds good. Like, I'll just go with you. And so I showed up to that first meeting down in Solar City in Massachusetts, where a lot of really big people in the industry started. Talking about people like Taylor McCarthy, Zane Jan, Don Gomez. If you guys know any of these people, they were all in that same office where I was at. There's a lot of talent. A lot of talent in Massachusetts. So I can remember my first day coming into this giant warehouse. Of course, they did everything for you at Solar City. It was absolutely wild. Everything was in-house. All you literally had to do was just sit down and close the deal. So I remember they gave us little Wi-Fi hotspots from Verizon. No way. So we would carry around the hotspot with us, so we would always have internet wherever we went. They gave us this little tablet called the Surface Pro, right? Depending on where you are at in the industry, it may require you to submit a design to the team for them to create a solar system design for you. But at the time, we had these little tablets with the program on it, where we would take the little pencil on the Surface Pro and we'd highlight the areas of the house that we wanted to put the panels on, and boom, you could make the design right there. Sometimes you'd do it on the porch. Sometimes you'd get right inside the house. That's nice. Literally no presentation. I remember, like, no way. We didn't have any type of presentation whatsoever. Wow. Literally the pitch was this. It was, you know, we were doing PPAs at the time, which is the power purchase agreements for y'all that don't know, but super simple. We're just saying, hey, you're just going to pay a lower rate for clean energy, right? We'd take a look at their bills at the time. You know, Massachusetts has one of the highest rates per kilowatt. So it's a really simple sale. It'd be like, we're just going to give you clean energy, lower the power bill. You would literally send them to show them the design. They'd sign the power purchase agreement. You would have to do nothing to manage that deal. Oh. Literally let the deal go. At the time, we were making probably around 4K a deal. And that's when I was like, holy smokes, this is a cool industry. Damn, that's awesome. What was the name of that friend that introduced you to Solar City? Yeah, so the name of the friend is Fitty Pina. Shout out to my boy Fitty. He lives currently in Orlando, Florida. Okay. He was the one that first showed me that opportunity, and really, really grateful because it changed a lot of things for me. I think solar, being in door-to-door sales, and I think you would know, and anyone else that you've had on the podcast would say that it's a very growth-oriented environment, right? So if you're not used to being pushed, if you're not used to being rejected, it can be very difficult for someone coming in and not having any kind of experience with it to adjust, right? It's definitely like a learning curve for sure when you first get into the industry. And that's what I noticed right away. it was something that was going to challenge me, both your work ethic, just being out there grinding. In Massachusetts, it's really, really cold out there, right? Yeah. You're knocking in the freezing rain. Sometimes the rain would be like, literally you see the little icicles on the homes. You're knocking out in the cold. You're talking, your breath, the smoke is coming out, right? But part of that grind in the solar industry, yeah.
Absolutely. I would say that like once you go through the experience and you become good at like door to door, you realize that you can go out there and work 2 hours and make $3,000, which is absolutely crazy. And I think that a lot of people underestimate that. But the most important thing for me is like once you go through door to door, you become really good at it. You feel like you can it gives you the confidence to like know that you can do anything in the world. And like I genuinely like move around my life with so much confidence because of how I have handled getting rejected. I have built so much confidence that I feel like I can just go anywhere and absolutely dominate, and that's something that I feel like we can relate to, it builds that confidence where now you just feel like you can just do anything and you're going to be successful at it because you know how to handle no's. You know how to go through maybe a whole week of getting rejected and still overcome that and come out winning. And the beautiful thing about the universe is that as long as you're putting in the work, you're always going to get rewarded for it. It's just a matter of time. Yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you said is super true. I think the solar industry gives you the confidence to be able to go out and you could literally go out and get any job you want because you have the confidence. You come into an interview now, you're not like, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you're like, oh, I don't know. No, you have like the confidence. Your communication with people just improves so much on the doors. Like they actually say that if you do like a year to door, it's like a master's in communication because you learn how to deal with all types of people. You learn how to talk to the technical people. You learn how to talk to the people that are scared of their own shadow. You know how to talk to the people that are super friendly. You know how to talk to engineers, people that are, supposedly in the world, levels above you in terms of business people. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that those are key factors to it, but I know there's several windows of like solar and then out and in and out of the industry. So whenever you came into Solar City, how long were you there? And then what happened that put you out of it?
Yeah, of course. Well, those of you that know the story of Solar City, it didn't last very long. We milked the cash cow while we could, right? I think what ended up happening was coming from a place where, for example, if you work two weeks in massage, you'll maybe make max $1,700, right? Okay. In 2 weeks. So imagine going from that kind of pay to like now closing one deal in someone's like garage, making like 3,000 or 4,000 for one deal. I approached it from a very, very bad place, right? Because I'll be the first to admit that. Because I was the type that, okay, let's go out there. I'll get one. Again, like I said, we didn't have to do no pipeline management, nothing. Literally just let the internal team bring it to install. You just get notified when it goes up on the roof and you get paid. So get spoiled very, very early on. What does that cause? It causes an extreme amount of laziness, right? Yeah. So you're like, okay, let me go out there this week. I got 2 deals. I made 6-7K. Okay, I'm good. Just go home, take a nap, play video games. Next thing you know, Solar City didn't last longer than a year, right? Mm-hmm. So,
since the moment you started.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
the moment I started, 2015, I think around mid 2016, around there was the time that it all just kind of blew up and everybody went their separate ways. Some people went to Vivint. Some people decided to go. Some people that I worked in went to e-commerce. Like people were just looking at different ways of making money. Some people started their own solar orgs. Yeah. Like that's the big pattern that I saw is like you either joined up with another solar company, you created your own, or you use the skills that you had gathered or acquired throughout your time in the solar industry to now pursue another market.
How long were installs at the time in Massachusetts?
Oh, dude, they were pretty quick, man.
Were they?
Nothing like 2-3 month installs. Okay. I'm gonna say like probably between 1 month to 2 months. Generally pretty quick installs because again they were managing everything.
And were you guys only getting paid at install?
That's a great question.
You remember?
I do remember getting M1 payments and M2 payments. So okay. I do believe that we got a certain amount at contract signing, and then we would get the rest of the percentage on install. So it was enough to where, you know, you were at least making on M1 over $1,000
That's awesome,
in
man.
that time period, which
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a lot of things have changed during that time period. Interest rates have changed, you know, the pay structure has changed for a lot of people. And again, solar is an industry where you constantly have to be making adjustments or else you're
Yeah.
going to be left behind.
You have to be adaptable, you know, and it teaches you so much because that adaptability you can take anywhere and you can just be successful, right? So that's what I love about our industry here. But here's the thing, right? So that's even before regulation started coming about.
yeah.
Like you could do anything. You could go
You
out
could
there
literally
and
do anything.
sell a deal, and like next thing you know, it's getting installed. You don't have to communicate to the customer. Nothing was regulated at the time. All you needed is systems. But now with regulation falling up, and then like all these things happening, and now the customer gets calls from the finance company, installer, sales team, operate. Everybody is like it's more regulated, and the customer understands that what they're putting in the roof is solar. Because I'm guessing back then, sometimes you could sell a deal and they wouldn't even know it was solar, huh?
Yeah, facts. They're like, is this guy going to come in and like switch my light bulbs? Like, I don't know what's going on. You
It
know
was
what I mean?
crazy. It was crazy. But anyways, after that, when did you approach solar again?
Yeah, so
Because that was a big break. What'd you do after Solar City?
yeah, absolutely. So I had a huge break from solar after Solar City went down because my shoulder recovered again. So what did I do? Well, I was like, well, let me go back to, you know, what I studied for. You know, there's no point in paying student loans and, you know, getting a license and then not using it. So I just went back to massage during that time, around 2016, 2017. Continued to do that all the way up until maybe 2020, which is right when COVID happened and everything like that. I was still down there over in Rhode Island. And then at that time again, another friend approached me. Another friend approached me at the gym back in 2020 over at LA Fitness in Pawtucket, a guy by the name of Richard. And many of you guys know Richard. He's another one that's, you know, big in the solar industry as well. He's more low key. A lot of you guys might know his brother. His brother is Baby Goat, actually, Adrian Hisiano. A lot of you guys know him because he's the one that likes to market himself, right?
Yeah.
But he actually has two brothers, and all of them have either had their own solar company or have been in the solar industry, and they each one have a specialty. They have a specialty, right? Like, so if you know Richard is amazing at door-to-door sales and talking to people. He's just got one of those like suave Dominican guys that could like talk you into buying something that you don't need. He's like one of those, where then his other brother, Will, is one that's like super smart and technical, kind of like your brother, you know, like he's just very, very smart. And then the other brother that likes the attention and the marketing. And he's also very good at sales as well. So those three brothers were actually all working, starting their own solar company down in Rhode Island. And he was like, hey man, like I'm doing my own solar. He's like, you know, would you like to try it out? I know you did solar before. Would you like to try it out again? I said, yeah, cool. So we started there, did a lot of like retraining, because if you go like 5-6 years without talking on a door, like you forget everything. I don't know how to talk to a person. I don't know a pitch. Like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And by that time, the market had changed so much too. Like they're not doing PPAs anymore. Now we're slinging loans. I'm like, how do we get people to sign a $70,000 loan? Like this is like a freaking house. Like how do I get people to do that? So there was a big mental shift there of adapting once again to the solar industry, and did that for a few months. And then my parents decided they were going to sell their house in COVID because everybody was selling. Everybody was freaking out. They didn't know what was going to happen to the real estate industry. They didn't know where the interest rates were going to go. People were getting really, really good deals on the homes, especially up north, where, you know, even the crappiest home up north can sell for $500K. Yeah. Right. And so my parents, they took the bite on that. At the time, they had a 2-story, right? I was living in 1 story. They were living in the other, right? They sold the house. So now I'm stuck in a corner, right? I'm like, okay, either I go and buy my own house, which at the time was not happening because I just didn't have enough upfront money to put a down payment on a $500K house. I mean, not many people would in my current situation at the time, right? And so I was looking at apartments. All the apartments were like $1,700 a month, $1,800 a month. Oof. I'm talking about rat holes, like
this
like the slums, like, you know, like on Monopoly, like the first 2 spaces that are brown. Like those were the kinds of apartments we were checking out. So it was like, yeah, it's no good. They ended up moving to North Carolina. And that's when during COVID, I came down here and
you just bought a home.
I just bought a home. Yeah. Because it was so much cheaper, you know,
Yeah.
like we went from talking about 500K home. I got one for under 200K. You know what I mean? So now it's more manageable.
And your mortgage is literally the same thing of renting of space over there, or less than that, right? That was amazing. I think that was like one of the smartest moves you made.
Yeah.
When was Camila born throughout this process?
Yeah, so right before...
And Camila's his daughter, by the way.
Yeah, so blessed to have a gonna be 5-year-old next month. But yeah, basically, Camila was born in 2019. So again, having
right before COVID,
COVID baby. You know, that was one of the blessings I would say during COVID was that I was actually able to be there the entire time.
Yeah.
With my daughter and watching her walk and grow up and very, very appreciative. If COVID did one good thing, it was anybody that had a baby during that time was able to spend the full time with the baby. And I think that's why, you know, me and my daughter are so very, very close. But yeah, like I said, so she was one. So we're like, hey, you know, we're basically starting a new family, you know, starting a different chapter in your life, you know, which is parenthood. And I did not want to do it in a rental apartment.
No,
like,
of course.
you know, everyone wants to be like, okay, let's get a house, have the family life, white picket fence, the whole shebang, right? And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we took the jump and just decided, hey, I lived my entire life in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, up north, 30 years of my life. I was living there. I'm like, okay, now we're going to do something completely out of the blue, random.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how people were going to be here. I didn't know if I was going to adjust. I didn't know if we were going to find a house, but we just got up and went and figured it out.
That's awesome.
You know?
That's awesome. What, like, I guess other than your parents here, what, like, and your family, what you already mentioned, those were like huge determining factors to that. Did you come and test out the, like, North Carolina before you actually moved here, or like you just like came?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my parents actually had another property here in North Carolina that they lived in for a while. It's actually by Sanford, where we go knock a lot.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's by a little area called Cameron, North Carolina. My parents had a house there, and they were like, hey, come check out the house. And when I went, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was like...
You were like, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Dude,
There's
we're
nothing.
in the middle of nowhere. There's people burning their freaking trash on the lawn. There's like billy goats and like things like freaking walking around. I didn't know what was going on, right? So I really, really did not like it. I'm like, if I got to go find a Walmart, I got to drive 45 minutes to find one because you're just literally in the middle of freaking nowhere. So I did not like it. I was like, I don't think it's for me. But one of my wife's friends actually lives over in High Point, which is a little bit closer to the Greensboro area for those of you that aren't from around North Carolina. And when we checked out that area, I kind of liked it. I was like, okay, like this is like more kind of like city where like I'm used to. Like there's more stuff. There's, you know, a lot of things are a lot closer than like down there by the Sanford area that I knew I didn't want to be. So we checked it out. Then my parents ended up buying a house in Greensboro. And I was like, okay, Greensboro seems like the area where I would want to be around. Let's start looking for properties near that area.
Okay, awesome. And then you right away found a job massaging
again
at the time.
Yeah.
You were like, well, let me do what I know how to do, and what I've worked for, I guess. And how long were you here before? Like, this is very funny, right? Because during this time, like, just going back, I graduated high school in 2015. Mm-hmm. I started solar in 2020, mid-COVID. So you already had years ahead of me from knowing what solar is. So I started solar. I think I met you, in 2021?
Yeah. So just like rewinding a little bit, right? So what I did was I just transferred over my massage license to here, started again, going down the same routine, right? I'm like, okay, this is what I know how to do. Let me just make money. It didn't happen right away because massage is one of those things where we're still in full-blown COVID.
Yeah.
It's like we're doing massages with masks. They're checking our temperature when we walk into the room for the massage. Yeah. Like, you know, it was just a nasty experience if you had to do that. It was just very, very difficult. But anyways, we pushed through, and I worked at this massage spot over off of Battleground. And during the time, I was like, oh, you know what? I want to start working out again because I was going to the LA Fitness back where I met Richard. I was like, I want to start working out again. The only gym that was really following like the COVID protocols at the time was a Planet Fitness. Where I'm like, well, it's better than just trying to do push-ups at home and trying to get a workout in.
Yeah.
And it was at that Planet Fitness in Battleground that we actually met for the first time. I saw Brian. He was wearing a Palmetto shirt, which is an installer down here in North Carolina at the time. That's what he was using. And he had it on the back of his shirt. And I said, hey, like, is that like solar? And he's like, yeah, bro, like I'm in the solar industry, bro. I was looking at this guy at the time. He looked like, he looked a little bit different from the Brian you see now. He looked like he had the Rocky IV abs. He was somebody, he looked like he did like Jersey Shore, like the gym tan and laundry. He looked like a really sharp guy. And so I was like, oh man, like this guy looks like he works out, he takes care of himself. I saw the solar shirt. I was like, man, like, what do you do now? And the rest is kind of history from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just taking a quick back, it's like I was helping at this time. I went through like Ion Solar. I had gone through Carolina Connections. No. Yeah, Carolina Connections. And then I had began to start a company with Integrity, right? With Integrity. So when that happened is when I actually met Hector. But then we were in a phase where like recruiting was important to me at the time. Still is, it always is, and it always has, because it's always good to present the opportunity to people who need it and might change their life the way that I have changed mine and the way that you have changed yours. But it was like I was thinking like, dude, we need a stud, we need a stud, we need a stud, like we need somebody skillful that knows how to sell, knows how to speak Spanish and English, and is gonna take care of themselves, right? So I kind of manifested Hector, like, believe it or not, because I was like working out, and then out of nowhere, like this guy just like, yo, like, do you do solar? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. We spoke a little bit, exchanged contacts, and then out of nowhere, like, boom, comes to the office. He starts doing it. I remember the first meeting that he came into. This guy's level of confidence was like outrageous, because we were in a meeting and like we presented people to pitch out front, and Hector's like, whatever, I'll go ahead up there and do it. And he did it. I was like, holy crap. So that right off that get-go, like not a lot of new people are gonna go into an office and be like, I don't know anybody here, but I'll go ahead and pitch, right? Yeah. So that was like, you already like increased the standards like that for yourself and everybody else. And then he started joking around, and we got to know him, and then he slowly lowered them. No, but not playing around though. Coming in, I know that there was a lot of couple challenges at the time. You were working like both jobs while you were trying to grow your pipeline in solar, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I mean that's very, very true. I think anyone that's been in that scenario can testify the same exact thing, that when you don't go all in something and you're dividing your attention, we talk about it all the time. People that want to be exceptional at everything. Oh, I'm going to be a beast at stocks. Oh, I'm going to be a beast at real estate. Oh, I'm going to kill the solar game. Oh, I'm going to start wholesaling houses. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and start doing home improvement projects, right? I'm flipping floors and flipping houses and everything like that, right? I think anybody that divides their attention into multiple different things is never going to be exceptional at everything, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to just be average or below average on all those different things that you're trying to go in. So I think that was what was happening to me. I was stuck into a position where I wasn't having a whole lot of success in the solar industry at the time, coming back again for the third time now doing solar, right? Because of the fact that I was scared. Yeah, I was scared, straight up, to be, okay, I have a family now. I have a mortgage that I have to pay. Risk. Yeah, I have a mortgage that I have to pay. If I don't pay it, my family goes homeless, right? Yeah. So what's the first thing someone's going to say? Okay, well, I have to secure the bag, right? Make sure that I have at least a check that's coming in from massage to be able to cover, because, going into a full 100% commissions job, your biggest worry is what happens when I don't have the money to pay. Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And I think that, sorry to interrupt there, but I think that that's really important. You go into commission base, you got to really build that confidence, because you don't know when your paycheck's going to come in. And the only way to build that confidence is by going out there and making it happen. Like, as simple as it is, but the way to not make it happen is by not going all in. You're just going to be stuck in the middle, and it's never good to not go all in and everything. But regardless of everything, right? We go through that. It took you like 4 months to get your first Insta or something like that. And once we get actually the first Insta, I think I made you in February. In August, we're like, whatever, bro, we're out.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, we leave. We start Alpha in Charlotte. You were driving to Charlotte every single day at that time, right? We had a couple of setters over there. I mean, they were really good setters. At the time, man, like, it was a little bit difficult. Like, you finally had started building your pipeline. And then out of nowhere, we're like, whatever, let's build our pipelines again at Alpha, start our own, like, build our own thing, build our own teams, run it the way that we wanted to run it, because like there was too many changes going on in integrity and it was getting out of control. I remember they were trying to build a team here and they were working in Las Vegas and it was just all over the place, right? So we took we took that path, we built that. I do want to know, like, because there was a couple times that we had conversations, Hector, and you were like, bro, like, I don't know if this is going to be possible. Like, we're building again. Like, this is going to be hard. This is going to be difficult. But what helped you get that confidence for you to be like, whatever, like, let's just continue to build?
Well, I think we got to a moment where, you know, we had been talking about it for like weeks now. Like, I'm talking about like, all right, Brian's like, hey, I really want to start my own thing. And we're like, nobody wanted to be the first one to make the move, right? Yeah. Nobody wanted to be the first one to be like, you know, we're out. We're just going to start. Brian didn't know anything about building a company, building a business, doing anything that had to do with running a solar org. Had no freaking clue. And so that was one of the things where we're like, dude, how are we going to like do it? How are we? And we just decided to just do it. Like, jump. We just put in, you know, termination letter. We're like, we're out of here. Like, we terminate ourselves, right? Yeah. We're out of here. We're going to start our own thing. I remember that was back August, like 3 years ago now?
Yeah, dude. It was in 2021.
2021, yeah. So 3 years ago. And the part of me that was wondering why, it wasn't going to work out was because your brother, who was a big part of where we were back then, he was like, you know what? I don't want anything to do with this at the very beginning. The first like month or 2 months, he's like, you know what? I don't think you can do it. And I know the kind of person you are. You're a go-getter, right? So I was like, no, I think Brian can do it. He'll figure it. He'll find a way to figure it out. If he's not the person to figure it out, he'll find people that can figure it out to do it for him. And so, yeah, we ended up having a really, really strong team of people that were already door knockers. We had a team of pest control guys that came with us. These guys were used to knocking from 9 to 9. Yeah. Didn't know a lick about solar. Did a little bit of training. Next thing you know, these guys are becoming absolute studs.
Dude, they were getting 6 appointments a day.
6 appointments a day. Literally, we had a room that was very, very small over in WeWorks, and I remember seeing 6 or 7 of us in the room. We're like, how are we going to make this work? And
it was like 5, bro.
3 years later, you know, here we are.
But dude, and we were pushing, right? Because I remember at the time we were like really like committed, and we were doing like 2-3 same days a day, right? And it was like we were getting that, and then it's just building after that, and then you just discover like not everybody's a good fit for the company and what they're doing. But then quick fast forward, that's how we finished 2021. Then 2022 was a huge year for you. Because that was the year that you easily hit 6 figures in 6 months. But obviously there was a lot of time, energy, and dedication placed forward for that to happen because you were driving to Charlotte every day. Every day you were driving to Charlotte and you wouldn't get home super late. So then you going through that, it took a little bit of your family time at the time, right? And that was a very important factor to you and everything that you do, being a family man and like being responsible to be the head of the household. So after that, in August, you made the decision again to be like, was it in August when you were like, okay, like I'm gonna go to massage again or do something else because solar's taking so much time?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, we got to rewind just a tiny bit there. That was really like a breakthrough year for me in terms of solar, because I went from being a rep to being a leader. And anyone that's ever like done that shift is you got to go from a place of being selfish to now, let me see if I can duplicate myself into others, right? And that's a huge shift for someone who's never done it, right? If you're just all about, I mean, we used to have a rep that would just be like, how much am I getting paid? How much am I going to make on this deal? What's the PPW? How much am I going to make? You know, like you go from a very, very selfish place to a very selfless place. Mm-hmm. And that becomes huge because now you see the impact that not only that you can have in yourself, but you can have in others.
Yeah.
For example, that was something huge that I saw with Felipe because when I met Felipe, you know, he was working at Home Depot. He was selling sushi. We don't know what was going on. He was making $10 an hour.
He was driving the Scooby-Doo van.
Yeah, he was driving the Scooby-Doo van. He was crashing his parents' car. We didn't know what was going on, right? And so took him under my wing, right? And a lot of you guys know Felipe. He's an absolute killer, knock star, all that good stuff, right? And took him under my wing. And that first day that we went out, we got 7 appointments on the first day, right? So he was like, oh, this is easy. It was a killer neighborhood. We actually sat down in a same day that day up until dark, and we got porched.
No way.
But from that very day, you know, that's when I really took the first steps of trying to become a leader and becoming a leader.
Yeah, and you were a leader at the time. Ever since we started Alpha, I remember that we would have, man, you were talking to me more than you were talking to Joanna. You know, it's like we would have phone calls every day on his way to Charlotte. And there's a lot of things that happened there. Like we met, I mean, a lot of our friends. I think Charlotte was fun at the time, and then we took everything back to Greensboro, right? I think that was around the time that you went on that cruise, came back, and you were like, yeah, like I'm not doing solar right now.
Yeah, I mean, I had just come off of probably making the biggest paycheck of my life. You know, so what does the first person do that's never had that kind of money before? They go on 3 vacations. So I went on 3 vacations in like the span of like 3 months.
Yeah.
Came back from Colombia, actually, from Medellin. And I was like, you know what? This is too much strain on my family life. After being on a vacation with your family, right? You're like, oh God, this is all I want to do. Like, I just want to be with my family. I don't want to work. I don't want to.
Just don't realize that you need money.
I don't want to crawl into the house at 10 o'clock at night. My daughter's asleep. My wife is rolling around in bed, not looking at me because she's too tired. You know, like those were kind of things that I was running into. And so I was like, you know what? When did I have more time freedom? Back when I was going to massage. So we go back again. It's like a vicious cycle, you know, going back again. And not too long after doing massage again, I was like, I miss the solar money. Just straight being completely honest with you, you know, like I just miss the money in solar. I know I can be great at it. I just really have to find a balance, you know, find the balance, find what works for you. And I believe that now we've gotten to like a sweet spot where like I feel like everything is clicking. Just to give you like a little background, in these past couple days, we've been getting a deal every single day. Yeah, and I think a deal a day keeps the doctor away. And I just feel like I'm hitting my stride right now.
Also, the thing about it is that we went back to what we're good at. Yeah. Why? Because like when you become a closer and you start closing deals, you kind of just want to sit and close this. And like you like look at the doors and you look the other way. And you're like, well, let me not look at the doors. Let me wait for deals. We got marketing going on. We got a group of sharks. Like, let me wait on deals. But then you realize that you can make more money if you're the one that actually does it, and you realize how good you are. And I feel like that's where the shift came in with like me, you, and Felipe too. We're like, well, if we're not gonna get any appointments in our schedule, we're gonna go and fill it up. And now we're going out there and we realize that 3 combos is 1 appointment, is $3,000, $5,000, $1,000 with light reach, whatever it is, you know. It's like, and that becomes like a game. It's just more gamified, and it's like, okay, who are we selling today? Who are we selling today? And it shows you there's an abundance of people to sell. Like there's so many people that need to be sold. It doesn't matter how many times they've heard it. It doesn't matter who has knocked on their door. Like, that's the thing about us. Like, it's like we'll go out there and make it happen, right? But I do really love, like, back then, it was like you made 6 figures in 6 months, but you were also dedicating all your time, energy, and attention to solar, and you were working really, really hard. Not saying that you're not doing that right now. However, now being in Greensboro too, it makes it more attainable. You know, it makes it more balanced. We got our schedule dialed in. I remember back then we were having leadership calls all the time. Right
Sunday
now,
nights.
we don't have leadership calls anymore. Only when you come in here an hour ahead of time. But then that gives you a lot of time for you to be able to enjoy that freedom with your family, especially Sundays. I remember at the time we were working every Sunday. Every Sunday we had appointments. Every Saturday we had appointments. Yeah. Sundays right now it's more like a free day. If we have appointments, either Felipe or I will take them. You're away on Sundays because it just gives you that family time that you need, right? In order for you to readjust for the beginning of the week, right? So with that said, going into it, now where's your headspace right now? I know that you're going on a blitz to Massachusetts here in a little bit. I bet you're excited of that. You haven't knocked in your home turf in a while, your home turf. How do you feel? What are your goals coming into Alpha right now, and like what we're gonna make happen? I know we've had a lot of discussions on what the future looks like for us, but I do want to know, like, where's your path? Where do you see yourself a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now?
Yeah, I'm really super excited about this blitz that we're gonna go.
Yeah,
it's kind of like almost like a full circle moment, right? Because like going back to like the origin, right? Like back to where we started in the solar game, and I'm very, very excited to see, everything that I've learned throughout this entire time period, from the Solar City days all the way up until now, how I can implement every single thing that I've learned along the way on this blitz that's going to be back in my hometown, right? So going to go blitz Rhode Island, Massachusetts, test out the market there for about 10 days. And I just can't wait to see how I can implement everything that I've learned and have a high level of success over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the level of confidence that comes with repeating the door, because it takes one day to get sluggish, it's like if you have to stay up to date. And that's what I love about like door-to-door solar and sales, is because you have to stay on top of it, right? Your level of thinking, everything, the way that you move, the way that you flow, your fitness, your diet, your growth, your spiritual side. Like, you got to be great on all those areas in order for you to be able to produce at a high level, high frequency. And not only that, but also stay consistent with it. So being consistent, you're somebody that has had a lot of highs and a lot of lows. So for just the viewers, the listeners, and the audience, right? How are you able to overcome these lows that you hit sometimes? I know that sometimes you had gone on vacation for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you come back and you're like really low because all your habits get destroyed. So how can somebody challenge themselves when they come back and like continue to work, but also like get over those lows?
Yeah,
How would you recommend that?
That's an amazing question. That's a really layered question as well, because there's a lot of things that you can do to like. Well, we talk about it all the time. We say we got to get realigned, right? We got to get back into alignment, vibrate at a higher frequency, right? When you go ahead and you are eating and drinking on a cruise for 3 weeks, doing absolutely nothing, and you come back, you're vibrating at an extremely low frequency, right? Like we say. So the first step is getting an actual schedule like dialed in. Okay, knowing exactly from this time to this time, this is what I'm going to be doing. These are my knocking hours. I'm going to hit the gym at this time. I'm going to, be grateful. I'm going to wake up being grateful. All these things that help you operate at a higher level of frequency and just being like a man on a mission, right? I'm a firm believer in like speaking things like into existence, like we like to say, right? Like going out there with a super positive mentality, saying, okay, today I'm going to go out there. We're going to get a same day. We're going to sit down in the home. It's going to close. We're going to go out. We're going to go get another one constantly, all day long, out loud, in the car ride, on the drive, on the doors, and fall in love with the doors again. Yeah. Right. You have to fall in love with the doors, fall in love with the nose. Right. At the end of the day, the solar game is a solar roller coaster. Right. It pays like it weighs. It's an extremely rewarding, lucrative job. But at the same time, it is something that not a lot of people can do. So you have to fall in love with the things that, made you successful in the beginning, which was having conversations, talking to people, loving talking to people, make connections. Connections is really the game. The game is who can make more connections with the homeowner. How can I get this homeowner to fall in love with me? How can I get this homeowner to stay talking with me? Right? It's a game. Gamify it again, right? You got to play a game like, okay, I'm going to see how long I can keep this guy that told me I'm not interested, get the F off my porch. I'm going to see how long I can keep him at the door and engage him and flip him over into, please come inside. Do you want some water? Yeah, let me get it in a glass with ice, please. So I'm not leaving. I'm not taking it in a bottle to go. I'm here to stay to close you, right? So I think that's the big thing. You got to fall in love with the doors, have a schedule, write everything down, right? You have to write everything down. Just to give you a small example, at the gym, If you're trying to make any progress at the gym and you go in there and you're like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do today. Maybe I'll hit back. Maybe I'll hit legs. I don't know. Should I do lunges? 20 pounds or 25? What did I do last week? I don't know, because you didn't write it down, right? So you have to write down your vision. You have to write down your goals. The best people know their numbers, right? So you have to know exactly, okay, this is what the numbers I'm going to hit today. These are the things that I want to accomplish. And then things that you even haven't done, write them down. This year, I will make 6 figures in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever the case may be, right? And that way, it's a lot easier to attain because you have something tangible there, something that sets a standard for you to implement and have a high level of success. So that would be my biggest advice to anyone going through that.
That's a great advice, right? And I think that overall, sales is like is one of those things that you're right. It pays like a wage. You know, you have to get mentally strong and you have to overcome so many things in order for you to make that sale. So that's with life. You know, anything worth it is gonna be difficult. It's gonna be hard. We both know it, and it's all about how bad you want it. You know, and I've seen it multiple times where somebody comes in and they don't want it bad enough. They're just not going to be successful. So they might as well just quit on the day they show up, because it doesn't make sense. Like, you're going to have to play the game. You have to understand that not every day is going to be winning. If anything, there's going to be more lessons. There's going to be more learning than anything. But if it's a matter of time to see success, it's just a time. It's a time frame. How long is it going to last for you? It could be 6 months. It could be a year. It could be 2 months. But it's all about that time. Not only that, just like we have wins, because there's a lot of people that come in and they can get wins right away. Can we handle the lows? Because that's when it gets tough. Can you handle the lows? Can you handle going 3 weeks without getting a sale? You know what I'm saying?
I've had some lows.
Yeah, so it's like, but that's why you get rewarded with these wins, you know? And you have to understand that when you're winning, it's not always going to feel like that. Most of the time, you're going to be in the middle, or you might be in the bottom, but as long as you continue to show up every single day in and out of the game the same exact way, you're going to end up attracting all these wins to your game. And that's what, like, it's hard to instill into others, you know, because you can't remove emotions from people.
Oh, yeah.
If you help them be logical, it's one thing, but you can't remove. I can't open Hector's brain and remove all these emotions and be like, bro, like, just continue doing what you're doing.
It's like at the beginning, like, you almost have to get like rewired, right? Everyone at the beginning gets emotionally attached to like every single deal.
Yeah.
You'll be looking at that back pocket you got 5 days ago that told you they're going to sit on the 4th of July. And you're like, oh my God, they're going to sit down and they're going to close because they told me to come back on July 4th. And you get so emotionally attached to the deal. But that's something that you got to, you know, rewire your brain to just stay even keel. Right? Don't let your highs get too high and don't let your lows get too low. If I get a win, I have to be reacting the same as if I get an L, right? If you close a deal, you have to react the same way as if it not closed, right? Do not let it affect you as far as that goes. But I think just one last thing I wanted to say, I didn't answer your question, right? Which was, where do I see myself 1 year from now? And I think the biggest thing that I see myself doing is falling in love with the doors in terms of self-genning, right? I've realized now, being more on the doors, let's say in this past month, I've probably been more on the doors in this past month than I have the past 2-3 years, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that just being on the doors so much has made me realize that, dude, I could absolutely destroy it on the doors, just getting same day walk-ins every single day. Now you click that in with being in a market that has, you know, higher pay or higher level of pay. You combine those two things and literally your life could change like
it's
that.
easy. It's easy, but also growing that passive income with the vehicle that you do have, which a lot of people fail to do, right? I know that you saw success in 2022 easy, right? Easy, 6 figures, 6 months, went on 3 vacations, but we didn't create streams of passive income.
Do your taxes, kids, by the way.
And
do your taxes.
And your taxes,
or else
right?
Uncle Sam is going to come knocking, I'll tell you that.
They're always going to get their money for sure, right? Especially when you're making that kind of money. And going into it, like you hit six figures again, so congratulations to that. It took a little bit
Appreciate
longer,
it.
but you did it again. And here's the thing: it's so easy, but yet we overcomplicate it in our head. But it's so easy. It's just going out there every day and getting better. Going out there every day, getting better. Going out there every day and getting better. Going out there today and getting better. That's all it is. But we overcomplicate it because we create all these problems in our head that end up creating these limited beliefs that we can't overcome. It's just our way of thinking. But going into the doors, falling in love with the game, it's all it is. It's like, let me fall in love with the game. Let me continue to carry this vehicle, make me so much money that I don't know what to do with it. And now you start throwing it into real estate, stocks, crypto, whatever it is, right? But you always focus on the one thing that's bringing you the income, though. Because if the moment that you lose sight of that and you lose focus of that, then that income slows down and you might find yourself all over the place again, right? So that's super important. Now, I do want you guys to know that this is a long like story, right? This is a huge long story.
Part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna need more parts to this because Hector is one of the most talented sales individuals that I've ever met in my life, but also can be the least working of them all, right? Because when you know how much talent you bring to the table and how you can go out there and make money, it's also easy to be like, well, let me just work 2 hours today. Let me just work 1 hour. Let me just close
roll out of bed and get a same day.
We have a saying here, like he rolls out of bed and gets a same day. But I've seen him do some crazy stuff. But before we leave the audience, I do want to know, what's been the funniest interaction that you've ever had at the doors?
Oh man, I have so many solar stories. I will say the one most recently that I had that was pretty hilarious was we were knocking this neighborhood. It had an install on one of the houses on the right side. We're rounding this cul-de-sac and we see this old guy. He's like this chubby old guy and he's there like taking off his Christmas lights. Mind you, we're like in freaking what month is it? April. He's taking his Christmas lights off from December, right? And so we go up to him and he's like, "What are you guys doing in my neighborhood?" Right? And he has a walker. Like he has a walker, but he's also on this ladder, like taking down these Christmas lights. And we're like, yeah, we've actually just been helping out some of the neighbors. You see that install over there? Right? I didn't say we did the install. I said, you see that install over there, the system over on the other side of the street. He's like, that's been there years. You guys are coming here and you're trying to find when I'm not going to be home so you can rob me. And we're like, dude, like we're just out here working. Like I'm showing him my badge. I'm like, yeah, we're out here working, helping people make the switch to solar. He says, you know what? And he takes his walker and he pretends that it's an AK-47 and he goes, next time I see you around here, and I said, oh my goodness. I didn't know what was going on. I've never, ever left the neighborhood faster than that guy. I hope I never run into him at Walmart, Food Lion, or anything like that. But it was just freaking funny because to see a guy like 90 years old take a freaking walker and pretend it's a machine gun, dude, I was dying. It was so funny.
Who were you with?
I was with John Merritt at the time.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
It was so funny,
that's
dude.
Crazy. I thought about the other one where we were in that neighborhood in Charlotte. We see Cheyenne. Cheyenne, this girl that was working for who at the time? Legacy. She was working for Legacy. She had knocked all day, not gotten anything. Hector freaking bold as fuck. He's like, let's go talk to her.
I was like, let me show you how to get a same day.
Let me show you how to get a same day. First door knocks, gets a freaking same day walk in. I still remember his name, Bruce Streeter. His wife had left him, New York.
Oh, man.
We were signing documents. He was all crazy and stuff. And then he gives me his phone, so I start looking through it. And I have this image that comes up. He has one of those rings. So your blood flow can flow on it. So, and I saw a dick pic, okay? So just putting it out there. I saw that dick pic and I was like, holy crap. But we had to make the sale. So I pretended I did not see anything. I told Hector right after, I was like, bro, he's got a little group. He's got pictures of I don't know what it is, his girlfriend, but she was young, so I don't know if she was just sending
Bruce
pictures.
Doesn't see the podcast.
But Bruce Streeter, we love you, man. Bruce
shout out
Streeter.
to Bruce.
Bruce and Cheyenne. Cheyenne sat down and she was like, I've never in my life gotten the same day. Oh my God, like what is this? And we were like, yeah, like we might send you a little bit of money. Unfortunately, it did not hit install. We didn't have light reach either, so So like now,
That's right.
that he has,
I think
like,
we slung
regional-
him like a 75K loan.
Yeah, 75K loan. It was a huge system.
Oh, man.
But it was fun, man. Those moments were fun in Charlotte. But anyways, guys, we're gonna be back with Hector to do other parts because this guy is a sales magician. This guy is like a sales go. I think that he underestimates himself sometimes, but he is talented. He's got a great sales background, and he's very good at overcoming objections. So we were gonna come back to this, but just super excited to bring you on board, guys. Why don't you guys, if you guys took anything, which I know you guys did, don't lie to me. You guys took a lot of information. Make sure to share this. Make sure to like this. Make sure to send it to your friends. Hey, Alpha's not bringing people in right now, but if you do want an opportunity, we might have that conversation and talk about it and see if you're a good fit or we're a good fit for each other. I know that we're here to win. We're here to dominate. We're here to take over. But please, guys, go ahead and share this. Help us out with this. Let's get the word out there. Let's spread what alpha energy is. Hector's journey, amazing journey. If you relate to it, go ahead and throw him a follow. He's got 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages. I don't know how many pages he's got. But he goes by, what's your Instagram, brother?
Bag him and tag him or Oli Papa.
Holy Papa and Bag 'em and Tag 'em, right? Which is his fitness page, which goes viral every now and then with the gifts that he puts out. You might get some BCAAs, some pre-workouts. You just never know. You might get a treadmill, right? So I highly recommend to go out there from sunlight points.
Facts.
That's another freaking story. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week. Let's get it.